Okay, you know that the Billboard put out a top 50 rap list and a top 50 rap album list? Can you guess what the number one album was? And don't think too hard. It's just something that you kind of get kind of easily.
Mm-mm. No. Okay, then I'm going to say Public Enemy takes a nation of millions.
That's what you would want it to be. You would want it to be Public Enemy, Nation of Millions. But it's actually Illmatic.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Illmatic. And just for the record, Supreme Clientele is number 14.
Congrats.
And top 10 rapper of all time, Ghostface. He's number 10. So yeah, I did that. I didn't even take a look what other artists I worked with at. I just kind of just saw who was at the closest to the top. It kind of said, we'll take it from there. But yeah, that did happen. Buckshot got a new song out. So Grammy nominations came out, so we're gonna get into that today.
Industry rule number 4080. Industry rule number 4080. Record company people are shady. Industry rule number 4080. Record company people are shady.
And so the Grammys are always so interesting because something else that you didn't know, Luigi, I was on a Grammy board at one point in time to kind of see what the process looks like. And unless they've made a drastic change in what they're doing, they probably spend 100 times more energy and resources on the actual award show than they're doing the actual nominations and voting who wins. So it falls short for me because I know how much energy they put into that part of it, although they say they do, compared to the reality of what it is. And it plays itself out with the nominations because when you see who gets nominated for certain things, and maybe that's a good way to start the show. Fuck it off for today. That's a good way to start the show. Oh, man. I'm gonna give you everything you need as long as I breathe forever. It's one of my favorite songs from a certain artist named Jaheim. All right, Gold Nation, we're here. We're back. Hope everybody's doing well. My name is Tally. I'm going to stop saying it after a certain amount of time because y'all should know that by now. We are in Season 3, Episode 4. Industry Rule number 4080. Gold Nation, as always, you are respected and appreciated. Catch us on all the socials. IG, Facebook, Threads, X, YouTube, at Gotham Jungle. All one word, Gotham Jungle, one word on all platforms. Share, subscribe, comment, like, follow, and you'll become an official member of Gold Nation. Hit us up on the comments. Let us know how we're doing. DM me. I'm really good on IG with the DMs. And let me know, review the show, rate the show. Let me know what you like and what you don't like. We only want to get better, and with your assistance, we'll get that done. All right? All right, we'll get right into it today, Goju Nation. Let's get into it with some qualified, verified, and certified on a couple of album reviews. Here we go. The Q. Here's what's qualified. Now, I'm not sure if you know this. You should know this if you're in the game on the hip-hop side. But this artist's last two albums, like the literal last two albums he put out, both won the Grammy for Rap Album of the Year. Want to take one guess? Good. There you go. With Call Me If You Get Lost, which came out in 2022, and Igor, this is all going to sound French to Kenny, in 2020, Tyler, the Creator, is literally, and I'm saying this out loud, I'm declaring this, Goju Nation. Next to Kendrick Lamar, he's probably the most creative rapper in the game. Truly, truly is. Truly, truly is. I listen to, and when I do these album reviews, Goju Nation, it's important for you to know. I listen to each one of these albums at least 3 times. It's not just once and I have something to say. I'll get into these albums 2 and 3 times to make sure that what I'm saying is absolutely qualified with what I'm coming to the table with, what I know the album is. Not even my feelings. It's what my essence of what I know about entertainment plays into my conversations. And you know that by hearing what I'm saying. But yeah, Tyler, the Creator, is probably the second most creative person in the game right now on the rap side. And only because of the timing of his latest album is this album not nominated. Because it should be. It just came out later than the timeline or the deadline was to get it done. Okay? The album is called Khromacopia. I repeat, Khromacopia. Chromacopia. I hope I said that properly. And the album starts with, here we go, Goju Nation. I've talked about this person too. There's a Daniel Caesar sighting. Daniel Caesar is on 2 songs on Khromacopia. The first song is a song called Saint Chroma. And he starts the album, Tyler, the Creator. He's actually doing a rap verse and he's whispering. So it's not his full voice. He's whispering the rap verse. And there's basically feet stomping in the background, almost like "We Will Rock You" type of thing, but it's a different pattern. And he's whispering over that foot pattern that's stomping on the ground. Then the actual beat drops, and it comes in like a baby bomb, and it sets up the album to let you know. And I probably gave this away too soon. Is that you need to get prepared if you're listening to this song, because I'm actually giving you a full album. Like an album in the sense of what an album is. I'll go back to something that Kenny mentioned earlier. It's like when you listen to A Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back by Public Enemy, it's not a bunch of songs. It's an absolute album. Conceptualized from top to bottom of how things are being done, where they're being put it. And when you walk away from that album, the experience of it is just as good as the songs on the album. And that's what I mean when I say, get prepared. An actual album is coming from Tyler, the Creator. Not a bunch of 3-minute songs. One of the missing ingredients that Tyler, the Creator, brings to the table that nobody really pays attention to, I repeat, nobody probably outside of industry executives pay attention to, is that he's actually producing the songs as well. He's not a rapper that somebody comes in and drops off beats and he rhymes over the beats. He's creating these songs. He's creating these lyrics. He's doing the whole package. He's a modern day, yes, I'm saying it out loud and I'm not exaggerating. He's a modern day version of Pharrell and Kanye. So you can imagine like how Kanye can rhyme and Kanye can produce, right? But add a little Pharrell in it from a standpoint of energy and sounds and stuff like that. He's literally doing that. Literally, not exaggerating. And it comes, and he's good at both. Like he can rhyme and he can produce. Like he could produce Kendrick Lamar in 2 seconds. It would make perfect sense. He could rap on a record with Jay-Z. No, not use Jay-Z. Who's now? What everybody loves now? J. Cole, Drake, or right, what's the big 3 right now? J. Cole, Drake, and Kendrick per se, right? He could rap on a song with Kendrick right now and it would not even look crazy. It would sound absolutely perfect and normal. That's how good it is. Okay, he's a star in his own right in that sense, just by me mentioning that his previous 2 albums won Grammys for Best Rap Album of the Year. He's meticulous in his production style. Okay, he weaves. You really have to pay attention. He weaves in strings and brass instruments and piano and guitars and vocal pieces from famous people or just his mother speaking or relatives speaking, and then also spoken word from famous people. He has live drums on the album, and he also has programmed drums on the album. But when I say weave, is that within one song, you may have 5 of these elements all in one song, all working their way in and out, and it seems seamless. It doesn't sound disruptive. It doesn't sound like, what's going on? It sounds very seamless and very natural, and that also adds to the quality of the project within itself. I not sure if I could really identify who the key tracks on this album is, because to be honest with you, it's a top to bottom, I'm saying it for the 5th time, an album. Okay, but here's what made my head lose its mind a little bit more than normal. There's a song called Darling I, which is very well done. A song called I Killed You, and here's a song called Sticky on this album. And Sticky will make any teenager in their lunchroom bang on the tables at lunchtime. That's how that track feels. It feels like lunchtime in the lunchroom. And to add to that track, he's got Glorilla, Sexy Red, and Lil Wayne on that same record. And the cadence that goes back and forth between them is very catchy. And you wouldn't think that these three people would be on this type of song. But again, that speaks to his relevancy and how he sees things through his musical mind of what makes sense and what can match together. Even the fact that Sexy Red is on the record within itself, to people in the genre would say, where's she coming from? It could have been a Lotto, it could have been a Cardi, it could have been a Megan, but Sexy Red was the choice. And it makes sense the way that it works out as well too. That song is pretty official. Then he has a song called Balloon where he samples Luke. And the way that it's sampled almost makes me personally nostalgic to how when people use the sample and the sample is actually creative to utilize, was done properly, not just using it to carry the song, not just looping a bass line of a song to be the track. Basically loops up something significantly. You'll recognize it the second that you hear it. And you say, I like the way that he utilized that. Almost you see the artistry of sampling within that. And that's well done as well too. Again, an album. And I don't know if he should call himself Tyler the Curator because he's so good at what he does, rather than his real name Tyler the Creator, because that's how I felt about the project. I'm going on and on about it because it is that good. Okay. And you know what's interesting too? Based upon me listening to this album out for a third time, I wondered if he did any songs on soundtracks because of the elements that he utilizes. And he did do this song, which you may remember if you have children. He did the rap version of You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch, for the animated How the Grinch Stole Christmas movie, which was very, very popular as well too. But it made me even think more about what he represents. It says, you know what? He would be served greatly, and so would the culture be served greatly if he actually did a full movie soundtrack, because of how he creatively thinks and how he sees things, his vision and layers of what he sees. He would be great for an animated movie or even a movie like Batman or something like that, because he really much taps in to the elements that make the most sense. His ability to evoke vivid imagery and emotion makes it more of a natural fit. It's easy to envision that this distinctive style and layered compositions would seamlessly translate in the cinematic world. Combining probably the storytelling aspect of how he writes and produces, along with the atmosphere of what the visuals of what a movie screen would look like. I could see that clearly. I'm probably speaking into existence, and it'll probably will happen before we even know it, because how he's kind of going about things. But here's what's important. I got a couple friends who always speak about like how whatever the music is today, it's not about age, just about quality. Like, for example, you know, you go back a couple of generations or a generation and a half above, you know, rappers would not sound the same, and they would all be good in their lane for argument's sake. So in today's generation, to give an example of why people are saying this about music, in today's generation, Redman and Busta Rhymes would make the same type of records because of their energy and their voice. Whereas in their heyday, they did not do that at all. Okay, a Busta Rhymes record sounded nothing like a Redman record, and vice versa. They were qualitative artists within that sense. But that's where a lot of the, I don't know if it's animosity, but the fervor against the current generation music comes into play, because if your last name is Thug or Baby, if you don't know who's who, which record is which, unless you're very into them, that type of thing. But for those who have that thought process of the music all sounds the same and nobody's good at what they're doing, and how could we do it? Tyler the Creator is here to let you know that okay, you're just not listening to good stuff and where the good stuff is. And he has that good stuff. So if you have that thought process, I implore you, or I just say straightly without giving a damn, start with Khromacopia by Tyler the Creator. Go back through his catalog and grow up a little bit and see what there is some good stuff out there. You just have to know where to go find it rather than expecting it to arrive at your front door. All right? And that's what's qualified. So we'll go from Hawthorne, California, which is where Tyler is from, and then we'll go to Gary, Indiana, where we'll do the V. First of all, think about that for a second. Hawthorne, California, Gary, Indiana, good hip hop. that doesn't sound feasible. Did you even think about that in the past lifetime? But from Gary, Indiana, this is my guy right here, man. Here's what's verified. Freddy Gibbs. Freddy Gibbs has long been revered as, in this industry, as a rapper's rapper. Okay? An artist that's unafraid to prioritize the craft over commercial fluff. And his new album is called You Only Die Once. I guess that's a play off for James Bond. You only live twice. You only die once. If I'm connecting the dots there. Yeah. He showcases that commitment with an album that fuses gritty realism, refined lyricism, blending bars, complex flows, which is absolutely complex, as shift like twist in a lanyard that you made in summer camp. Now, which one did you use? Did you do the box braid or did you do the cobra braid? But definitely he's in that space. This album around, and his last album was good too. Gibbs dives into a more introspective theme. He has a battle with the devil throughout this album. And basically the devil is basically telling him, like, you live crazy. You know you committed way too many sins. I don't know why you're trying to save your soul. You might just come hang out with me and do it for real. Do it all the way. Why? Don't even run from it. But he's refusing in his spirit to do that. He wants to say what needs to be said, or at minimum, let it all out. Okay, as if he's confessing, so that his soul can feel cleansed as he's doing what he is doing. It's interesting because the things that he speaks about remain a little bit ambiguous, as if, does it benefit society with the things I've done? Or does it actually affect society in an adverse way of what he's doing? But that's the concept of the album lyrically. Musically, it's an introspective 90s R&B soundscape, if that's a word that could be utilized. Okay. But here's the thing though, that platform of thought process actually reveals the revelations of the secrets once shared in a late night conversation. It's almost like, it's like when you hear this music, you would kind of say, and then this happened, and then this happened. Like the music kind of motivates you to kind of want to reveal other things that's going on. It's almost like theme music or scene music that sets the tone to want to say things or reveal things or open up about things. It just comes across very organically. There's a standout track called Wolverine. Producers 4x4, Pops, and Mood Latte. They are the guys that work on the bulk of this album, or enough of this album. But on this one, all three of them work together. It's one of my favorite songs on the album. One of the better songs on the album. Captures real, gritty, R&B, hip-hop, not melodic, but energy that kind of plays for the soundtrack for that song. He has an uncanny ability, Freddie Gibbs does, to ride any beat. Doesn't matter the tempo, doesn't matter how fast or how slow it is, what's happening instrumentally. He kind of just lays right in there and just kind of fits and sits real comfortably, and there's no issues there with what he's doing flow-wise. You don't sit back and say, well, I see rhyming on this track. You kind of like, it sounds like he almost was born to rhyme on this track, or he should be one of the guys to rhyme on this track. That's how it feels, that natural ease. He has a rabbit theme if you've known his history. I'll let you delve into that if you want to. But he has a song called Rabbit Island, which is another emotional produced R&B hip-hop track produced by Pops. And his rap bravado, but if you're a rapper, if you don't have any type of bravado, right? So you have to kind of have that. But he also reveals He also reveals vulnerable abilities, thank you, that often go unspoken in the rap world. Then there's a song called It's Your Anniversary. And yes, Kenneth, he actually samples the Tony song. And it brings back a nostalgic thought process, because the concept of the song is all the all the bad things that he did. Let's say, for argument's sake, that, and I'm not saying this is what he's rapping about, but for argument's sake, if he got a girl pregnant, he didn't want to get pregnant, he remembers the anniversary of the stress of what that caused him. Or if he did something illegal, he remembers the anniversary of that date, and he speaks about it throughout the song, and that's where the song anniversary behind it kind of makes sense. Again, it clicks in the way he does it, as he speaks about his pivotal highs and lows, both haunting and redemptive. He has another song called Walk It Off, 4x4 produces that song, where he basically delves into the consequences of his own questionable actions And he does this by walking it off, if you will. And that's how he clears his mind to come to terms with what he has done. I'm giving you this context of kind of how he's delving into it. So it's not just bravado rap, which people get 90% of the time. There's actual concepts that's being utilized here. Or if it is a bravado concept, he takes the extra layers and steps to give you what that really represents, more so than just puffing his chest out and saying, I am this guy. And that's what spoke to me a lot about his projects. In addition to the fact that he has multiple flows that seamlessly go through these tracks left and right. So I just want to make sure I point that out right there. Then there's the last song on the album. This, if you pay attention, probably maybe the most controversial song on the album. It's a song called On the Set. And On the Set, again, R&B driven, 90s feel track, hip hop wise, but more now. It speaks to the current space of hip hop. So he actually goes into and speaks on what's happening with Diddy and doesn't run from what the circumstances are. He actually speaks about what's happening with R.Kelly and speaks upon it. That's not really been done in hip hop in the truest sense that I've seen, or I know. If there is, Goju Nation, send me the songs. But he also speaks about like the deaths of like Young Dolph happened in Memphis, and what's happened with Nipsey, and what's happened with other rappers, and what's the guy that died in California, whose name I forget right now, but it'll hit me before we get off the air. And what those deaths represent to the game, and why it's important to not necessarily remain and keep their legacy in place, but to be more aware of what these things represent, because we're losing our craft. We're losing artists. Even like when he speaks about Diddy and R.Kelly, he speaks about how we've been robbed of certain creativity of material, because imagine if R.Kelly was still making songs and wasn't in trouble, what we would have. Imagine, if Diddy was still, in his right mind, if they call it that, and doing things a certain way, what we would be getting, what artists we would be discovering. Because he's very good at talent evaluation and putting out artists that make sense. So he speaks to that from a very point of view of it's sad, relevant, but needs to be spoken about kind of way. And that's also refreshing as well, too. So doubling down on this point, in an era where quality hip hop can sometimes feel scarce, You Only Die Once by Freddie Gibbs serves as a only 40 minutes, that's kind of interesting, only 40 minutes, a 40-minute reminder that artists like Freddie Gibbs are here to keep this genre's soul alive. And anyone questioning the depth of today's hip-hop, this project is a compelling response. Now, Freddie Gibbs has been nominated for Rap Album of the Year. And that segues to that Grammy note to the C, the C, the C, the C, and the C. And here's what's certified. All right, this is going to take a little time, maybe not too long. Here are my Grammy thoughts. Here are my Grammy Award thoughts. Ah, boy. Every year I find myself dissecting the Grammy nominations for one simple reason. The Grammys have a knack for mixing brilliance with bizarre missteps. Boggles my mind. They get it right about half the time, but there's those moments that can go unmentioned. And that's why I'm here, Goju Nation, to let you know what those moments are and the moments they actually got right. So here's the awards landscape that I present to you. And I'm only going to do R&B and rap today, because if I did every single category, we would run out of tape. If this was old school, or I'd run out of time. So we'll start with Best Rap Album. This year they got it right. Okay, they've gotten it wrong in past years, but this year they got it right. Okay, I called these two albums being nominated for Rap Album of the Year. I called J. Cole's Might Delete Later, okay, which was the album of which he made right after the first, well, I'm not saying he made it, but it dropped right after the initial shot across the bow was directed at Drake and Kendrick, because it started with, Drake saying, I think it was Drake saying that the top three are him, Cole, and Drake, and then Kendrick Lamar responded on another album that there ain't no big three, it's only the big one, that's me, and he directed fervor towards Drake, if we're all paying attention to timelines. Anyway, but the J. Cole album, Might Delete Later, I called it album of the year for rap. It definitely got nominated. I also called this one, can't remember this one, The Auditorium by Common and Pete Rock, also got nominated for rap album of the year, which I knew was going to happen. And for full perspective, Luigi and Goju Nation, this isn't me doing revisionist. If you go back, the second these albums dropped, I said it. Okay, not even knowing what's, like, for example, when I said J. Cole, I did not know The Auditorium was coming out. I just knew that Drake was going to get it. Okay, when The Auditorium dropped, I didn't know what else was coming. I just knew that The Auditorium was going to get nominated because of its quality. Okay, so I'm going to take those wins. Then we have We Don't Trust You, which is the Future and Metro Boomin album. Watch this. That features the first Kendrick record that's the response to the J. Cole statement about the top three, blah, blah, blah. Okay, and this album being nominated, I don't know if it's being nominated. Well, let me say it this way. I feel it's being nominated because it sparked the battle between Drake and Kendrick, whatever that thing is, and it became one of the major talking points in hip-hop this year. So this is the album that's responsible for that. Excuse me. The album that's responsible for that. So within that, I believe that's where that nod came from. All right. And then another one, which I kind of assumed that the Grammys would pick, I'm not saying it's bad, I'm not saying it's good, it just makes sense, is The Death of Slim Shady by Eminem. The Houdini record is good, and Eminem did a good job. So within that, that's there. So those four albums are basically, y'all got it covered. Y'all kind of did the right thing. There's only one real glaring weakness, though, in the rap album category. And I'm not saying there's an album that fits this category. I'm speaking about the landscape of where rap is right now. Not one single female artist is in this lineup as far as album of the year. Whereas if you're paying any attention, we know right now that, annoying or not, female rap is dominating the charts right now. It's dominating. So for not one of them to be anywhere in this category, now I know Cardi can't do it because Cardi ain't put an album out, but there's still plenty of others that have made their mark that could have worn in a space here and it would have been weird. Yeah, I'm not going to say who, but that kind of makes sense. So that was weird to me. It's like all men, no women in the rap category. That doesn't make any damn sense. So there's where you are there. Okay. All right. So here we go. Best rap song of the year. I can go through each one of the nominees for this one, but let's be realistic, right? It's really not like us against everybody else, right? That record is too big to say. What record is as big as that one? That answer is not really any. So I'm not even going to kind of go into the other categories nominees because if this is one that I guarantee he's going to win, Drake's going to guarantee he's going to win. If he's nominated for like 6-7 Grammys, but if he's going to win one for sure, he's definitely going to win Best Rap Song. Period. In the story, there's no competition there. No competition there. Now, here we go. I'm going to Best Rap Performance first. Next, okay. There's always been in the Grammys a confusion of song and performance and what that means. Okay, so again, if I explained it before, I'm going to explain it again for clarity. Okay, best rap song is to the writer and the producer best act. That's best rap song. Who wrote it and produced it. That's who that award goes to, the writer/producer. Best rap performance, to give you an analogy, is who had the better show. So you went to this concert and you went to this concert. Whose concert was better? So basically, who performed their best version of themselves on this song? That's why a song like Lose Yourself by Eminem will win, because of the energy and what he's saying. It's unparalleled. Nobody else did anything as good as that year. Just so you understand that difference, because it gets convoluted because the categories are together. Okay? So best rap performance, this is a good category actually. Okay? Because the songs that are nominated, these artists did, for lack of a better phrase, perform these songs. First one is Enough by Cardi B. Enough is enough. She did rap her off on that song and did give a great performance on that particular song. Houdini by Eminem. And Eminem, 9 times out of 10, if he does an album, will always get nominated in this category because of his flow and wordplay are so dynamic in what he does. It's like, well, who else does it like him? So he kind of falls in that category. But the song Houdini, which uses Abracadabra as a sample, is a good choice as well, too. And then Like That, which is the song on the Future Metro Boomin album that Kendrick is on, that triggers the intensity of the rap beef. And again, why? Well, because of what Kendrick said. And again, the intensity of what he is saying and how he is saying it. That's what's drawn attention to within that one as well, too. Okay? But it's up against Not Like Us by Kendrick. And is there any better rap performance, perception-wise, did not like us this year, I tell me what it is. I'm not saying, I don't know what it is, if that one. So I think he's going to win that one as well, too. This next category sucks. I call this is the one, Kenny gonna chuckle, smile. I call this the Ja Rule category, okay? Best melodic rap performance, okay? Which I'm always confused every year of what they consider this, because is it the rapper that also kind of sings a little bit? Is it a rap song where there's a rapper on it and somebody's singing on it? It just gets real convoluted. So I didn't even, and then they put, and here's my first moment within this, okay? Now, the executive producer doesn't even know anything about these songs, but just me saying, somebody gonna say, yeah, okay? There's a song nominated called Spaghetti by Beyonce and the country artist Shabuzi, who's kind of like a country rapper type thing. Well, you see, how did this even get here? Like who put this in this category? Like, it just boggles my mind. And then there's other songs that just are not even in the category. So again, you can see I'm stuck with this. I stopped here because I was just happy to see that Lotto got a nomination for Big Mama. They could have taken a better song, but the fact that Lotto got nominated at all at least made me feel like, Jesus, at least they're thinking about female rappers in this category at all, because they're definitely not if you got Beyonce and Shabuzi. Again, I'm baffled by that one. Okay. Those are my rap categories. That's my rant on that one. And there's just so many other things they could have taken, and I don't want to. I can name like 6 more, but I probably would be forgetting 7 others. I don't want to disparage them, so I'll just say that crazy a little bit. Okay, I'm in the R&B land now, and here's where the Grammy struggles begin. Oh boy. Okay, so first of all, you didn't know this. R&B has had a horrible year. R&B really sucked this year. Okay. And the song just popped in my head, and I'm gonna bring up that's not even in this category. That's a travesty. But we'll start with best R&B album. This is how bad R&B has been. So I'm gonna name the albums that were nominated. Okay, Coming Home by Usher was the album that he put out right after he performed in the Super Bowl. Okay, for my Latin population, this album's basura. It's horrible. It's horrible. It was on the charts for literally 2 weeks. But I think literally this is part of where the Grammy nomination process falls short, because that album was lambasted and has not sold, but yet it's sitting here for a Grammy nomination. Baffles me. Okay, Algorithm by Lucky Daye, who's one of my favorite artists, and his first single is the reason why I was motivated by him. His album, major disappointment. I have no reason why I'm sitting here. None. And I like this guy. Okay? Problem. Okay? Revenge by Muni Long. Prisoner of the moment type of situation. They have this term in sports where they say prisoner of the moment, and I'll give you an example. So this guy on the New York Jets, I'm going sideways, but I'm coming back, I promise. This guy on the New York Jets named Garrett Wilson made a one-handed catch in the end zone, and it was fantastic, blah, 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 blah. They call it the best catch of all time, as a prisoner of the moment circumstance, without realizing that the Odell Beckham catch from a decade ago is the reason why people are even doing one-handed catches. Right? And he made the catch of life. So prisoner of the moment means that you see something that's in front of you and is good and it speaks to you, so you kind of say, this is the best thing ever, without doing revisionist history or doing your real homework on it. Muni Long is one of those artists that falls in that category. She's been on the charts currently a lot. One of the what's the one I'm looking for? One of the blemishes of light in R&B, if you will. Okay? But being there isn't much to choose from, they grabbed her album Revenge and made it in the album of the year category. This album is plain vanilla. Previous podcasts, go back and listen. Our album is vanilla. It is nothing to write home about. I'm just saying what it is. Okay? Vance of Black by Layla Hathaway, which I listened to again on my way in today just to make sure I felt how I felt. It's a quality album. It actually deserves to be in this category. And I wouldn't be surprised if it wins, because Grammy voters tend to be legacy voters as well. And they'll see a name they recognize compared to if they don't recognize. So, for example, I'm being honest, there's probably more Grammy voters who know who Layla Hathaway is than know who Muni Long is. Or is it Money Long? Either way, hope I said it right. They'll probably vote for Ladies because they recognize her name more so than they recognize what it is. So it would surprise me if she wins. Plus, the album, in the sense of what it is not bad. But the winner should be and it's deserved. Surprise, Chris Brown. Chris Brown's 11:11 album is very good. I gave it a very good review. I like that album. Sensational is a very, very good record. Don't understand why that's not an R&B song of the year, going back to the Grammy nominations. But his album is a good album, and he deserves this one. Other times I didn't think he deserved it. This one he does deserve it. A very good job. So best R&B album at least has an album that's worthy of winning it, that is actually that good, and that is 11:11 by Chris Brown. Now, I get confused with R&B sometimes because you have another R&B category that's called Best Progressive R&B Album. And where that comes from, executive producer, that comes from how they don't confuse, and it goes back, how they don't confuse neoclassic soul with R&B. So that's where progressive R&B came into the category, so they don't jam those two up, okay? But because neoclassic has it, I'm not saying it hasn't, but I don't want to say it hasn't maintained, but let's just say that they have a lot of other songs to get into that category. So now, for example, R&B reggaeton records, R&B, what's the term I'm looking for? Oh my God, it's gonna hit me in a minute. Records that Tim's make and Wicked make and stuff like that. Afrobeats R&B slides into that category as well too, compared to Usher, if that makes any sense, okay? So that's what progressive R&B is. And also they put R&B artists, not necessarily that are legacy, that are classic artists. So for example, today, Muni Long, if Babyface makes an album, it will land here, most will land in the R&B category, unless it was amazing, because Babyface is a legacy artist, if that makes any sense. But here's what's blatantly missing from this category, and this is why, again, a moment with the Grammy Awards. Where is Tyrese's album, Beautiful Pain? His album is amazing. That David Foster composition should have absolutely been here. Period. Best R&B song for either Love Transaction or for Wildflower, and for the album itself, it's not here. And I went through this 4 times and said, where is it? And it's not there. But here's what they have for R&B's progressive R&B album. This is an album that should be in Best R&B album. I'm sorry. I just went through my whole rant on Best Progressive Album. I'm on Best R&B Song now. Okay? I'm moving on. Progressive R&B album, I haven't spent enough time with these projects to actually critique these projects. I just know the category is being very confusing with how they decide who they're going to utilize. So I don't want to speak on the Best Progressive R&B album until I get there. So I'm skipping and I'm moving to Best R&B Song. Forgive me, Goju Nation. We're back on track. Okay? This category has its missteps as well, too. Now, this song should have been nominated. After Hours by Kalani. Great song. Great production as well, too. No mistake there. I hope she wins. This was absolutely how the nomination process should look and how the song should be. So that one's there. Burning by Thames, that Afrobeats record, is not even the best record on that album. Why is it here? Wrong track selection. Okay. Here We Go by Coco Jones. I have one word for this. Ditto. It's not even the best song on her album. It's not the one that's here. How'd they pick this one? Okay. Also, Coco Jones has been a nice little bright spot in R&B, by the way, FYI. Okay. Ruin Me by Muni Long or Money Long. I'm going to find out exactly how to say her name. Again, ditto. It's not even a song that should be nominated. It's not the best song on the album. But again, Prisoner of the Moment. So this is where they're missing. So they're 1 of 4 with the proper song selection for best R&B song. Okay. And this is the real reach. Saturn by SZA is the 5th song. Now, is Saturn a great song? Absolutely. Is Saturn deserving because of the way she writes? Absolutely. Is it in this cycle of the Grammy Awards nomination? No. It's on her last album from almost a year and a half ago. So why is this here? I didn't skip the line to get here. So I'm not sure why we've been doing this. So again, this speaks to the missteps that the Grammy nomination process is making, and that's what's driving me a little bit batty. Yeah, but based upon this category list, Kalani, I want you to win. All right. Best traditional R&B performance. I've never grasped this project because they have best R&B performance and best R&B traditional performance. So again, if we're going back to what it means, like in the vein of Usher doing R&B, what's the best performance? In the vein of Jill Scott, what's the best R&B performance? Okay, but then they have Lucky Day in traditional R&B, which is more of an R&B song, not traditional R&B song. And that's the best of that bunch. It's in the wrong category, but it's the best song in that bunch. Again, I'm not grasping how they're picking their selection, but it goes back to my criticism of the selection process and who's involved there to ensure that the quality of material and selection is put into place. It's just not there. Part of the problem, as I said at the beginning, R&B sucks right now. Okay, so it's hard to pick from bad stuff. So it's kind of what it is. Okay, all right. Best R&B performance. I just did traditional. Lucky Day's in it with for the people who I don't care about. I want Lucky Day to win, although it's in the wrong category. Best R&B performance is even more of a mess. The songs they picked are miscast again. Okay, others are outdated again. And reading the list hurts my head. It makes me go again. It just makes me more angry at the process. So I'm only speaking to what I can speak to, that I feel qualified to speak to. What I don't want to criticize or over criticize artists and the process for. This is where I kind of landed. So I can't even give you a hard answer on R&B performance. Okay. Should I keep going? The answer is probably not. Okay. But I'll keep diving into the categories. Goju Nation, I'll update you as I find these hidden gems, because that's one of the things I do love about the Grammy process is that whatever the categories are, I tend to go through the categories and listen to all the material as much as I possibly can. And I love to find gems of things that I may have missed or gems that you should be hearing and seeing that are not being done. And that's magnificent. So we'll see. I'll have some gems for you, and I'll also call out more of some of these nominations along the way. Okay? I think that's enough, right? Yeah. Let's catch the socials, Goju Nation. Let's catch the socials. YouTube, of course. IG, Facebook, Threads, X, at Gotham Jungle. One word. Gotham Jungle. One word on all platforms. Like, follow, share, subscribe, comment, and become an official member of Goju Nation. Okay? Man, I want to I'm losing my mind here. I want to thank the Grand Architect Universe. I want to thank my mom. She had a great conversation with me this week. And remember, light and darkness cannot coexist at the same time. So if you choose to be one, choose the light. Thank you again, Goju Nation. Enjoy.